My name is Art. I retired from the prison system. During my career, I worked a lot of different positions. One of the jobs I had years ago was working the turnout, basically a little guard shack. What this prison had plenty of was feral cat. Not necessarily a cat lover, but I am, however, an animal lover. Not too far from this shack that I worked at was a container, and underneath this container was where a mother had a litter of kittens. Yeah, they were cute. This little litter of kittens was out basking in the sun. It was pretty chilly. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a hawk came down, picked up this little black kitten, and started flying away. Till this little kitten was giving it hell, fighting for its life. And the hawk was flying about 6-8 foot, making its way towards the perimeter fence. Just couldn't get the altitude, couldn't get up. So somewhere right before the fence, she dropped this little kitten, and it dropped to the concrete with a thud. And the hawk had to do a little maneuver to try to get up over that perimeter fence. The little kitten had shot like a rocket out of sight. It was probably about a month later. I was in the shack with my little heater eating tuna fish when I heard a little cry, and I opened up the little door, and there was this little kitten. And I offered it some tuna fish, and it came into the shack where it was nice and warm and ate tuna fish with me. The temperature on a daily basis was around 17 degrees. So I got me a little box, and I stuck it up underneath there where it could just stay out of the way. And I'd come in the morning, and it'd be right there by the shack waiting to crawl in the hot spot. And then when I left, I just had to set it outside. So I told the wife about it, and I said, hey, I think I need to bring this little kitten home. It's got a broke hip or something. It kind of walks funny. Got a little waddle to its walk. My wife, Luann, agreed that it might be wise. So next day when I went to work, when I went to leave, I got it in the box, carried it out. I got permission, which they said take every cat you possibly can. But I just took this one little cat, put it in the truck, and brought it home. When I got home, I had carried it in the box, got to the kitchen, put it in a little corner of the kitchen, and that cat did not come out of that box for weeks. It was, I guess, just either happy to be there or afraid to come out. I don't know which one. Stepdaughter Emma had come up with a name for it. She wanted to name it Eileen because the cat leaned up against anything and everything when it was just standing there. Luann, my wife, had a friend who did shots for dogs. She had an animal grooming and boarding company. She looked at Eileen, felt around, wasn't in any pain or difficulty. Legs weren't broke, just couldn't figure out what was wrong with it, but definitely something wrong with it. But she did notice one thing. It was not a female, it was a male. I don't really recall who came up with the name, but Eileen got a name change to Mr. Wobbles. Mr. Wobbles became part of the family. By this time, Mr. Wobbles had gotten to thinking outside the box and living outside the box. Now, this cat was not crippled. It could jump waist high and run like the wind. Mr. Wobbles had a good life, especially considering the fact he almost became some hawk's dinner when he was a kitten. And like most household pets, he was spoiled rotten. Mr. Wobbles is no longer with us. After all, this was a long time ago. I think there's a lesson to be learned here from Mr. Wobbles. He didn't know that he was crippled. He accepted the world the way it is, unbalanced. I heard it said that we are all crippled in some way or another, perhaps mentally or emotionally or physically. The bottom line is survival motivates us all to continue on, no matter what our problems are. You know, the world, if it didn't suck, we'd all fall off. If you like this story, press like, subscribe. It's free.